this sheet, this should be the last one that's in your packet for ELA. We're only going to work on the spring story. So we have the story here on the front, and we have the comprehension questions here on the next page. Okay. Now this is one of our cold reads, something that you would maybe find taking home for homework in the past. And so we're only going to read through this one time. But after we're done reading this, I would like for you to go back and read it a couple more times on your own and see how far you can get in 1 minute. How many errors do you get? You know, we're improving our reading stamina and our fluency. Okay, so here we go. We have 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. Spring begins every year on March 21st or 22nd. When spring comes, the weather begins to get warmer and the sun shines longer every day. Many animals like birds, sheep, and cows have babies in the spring. In the spring, the grass begins to grow and buds form on trees and flowers. Many animals that hibernate in the winter wake up in the spring. You can see frogs, squirrels, and chipmunks in the spring. Many birds come out in spring too. Spring is over in June, when it becomes summer. Okay, now we might have to flip back and forth so that we can reference our story for our questions to help us answer our questions. The first question says, when does spring begin? Well, we're going to start that as a complete sentence. I know that already I'm going to answer starting using my questions. So spring begins, and then I'm going to reference back here. And it says, spring begins every year on March 21st or 22nd. Every year on March, and that's capitalized because it is a proper noun, 21st or 22nd, period. Okay? What happens to the weather in spring? Well, let's see. What happens to the weather in spring? When spring comes, the weather begins to get warmer and the sun shines longer every day. There's our answer right there. When the weather begins to get warmer and the sun shines longer every day, and the sun shines longer every day. I ended my sentence with my punctuation mark. Just realized that we just went past our first day of spring. What animals can you see in spring? Well, let's look. It says many animals like birds, sheep, and cows have babies in the spring. So it's asking us what animals that we can see in the spring. Well, that is saying that they give babies and have babies in the spring. this also down here, I'm seeing something else. Many animals, that's that word I'm looking for, that hibernate in the winter wake up in the spring. You can see frogs, squirrels, and chipmunks in the spring. You can see frogs, and a reference because I want to make sure I'm spelling it correctly, squirrels and chipmunks in the spring. And I separated my words using commas because that is a list. Okay. Last question says, why do you think hibernating animals wake up in spring? Okay, so this is why do you think? Okay, so this is something you're going to have to use your mind for. Let's look back here though. Because it says that many animals that hibernate in the winter wake up in the spring. You can see frogs, squirrels, and chipmunks in the spring. Many birds come out in spring too. So why do you think these animals are waking up and coming out of hibernation in the springtime? I think hibernating, and we've talked about hibernating a lot in our class this year. Animals wake up in spring. Now we've talked about there being more food, we've talked about it being warmer, so let's put all that together of things that we already know about hibernation. I think hibernating animals wake up in spring to get food. They've been sleeping all winter long. They haven't had any food. So they're probably really hungry. So that's why I think hibernating animals wake up in spring. What do you think? Okay, until tomorrow, do not move ahead.